If you've ever wanted your own pet spiritual pterodactyl thing that you could ride from place to place, acting as your own personal Uber, then this is the video for you. Now, I may know a guy who knows a hookah-smoking Indian man that might be able to get you one of these at quite the discount. The only thing that you have to do for me is hit that subscribe button and the bell notifications for my channel, and that way you will instantly get future Berserk, manga, and other content uploaded straight to your YouTube feed. It costs you nothing, and you'll be one step closer to soaring into work on this new energy-saving mode of transportation. I think it's the offer of a lifetime, and you may as well give it a shot. The name Garuda was definitely chosen very carefully, and it has a lot of meaning outside of the Berserk lore. I think the first thing that's interesting to look at is that the Kushan reflect more of a Hinduism kind of spirituality. In the manga, it still deals heavily in the realm of magic, but unlike the kind of magic that we were used to seeing, where a witch or magic user of some kind would need to travel into the astral world and ask permission to borrow power from an elemental spirit, instead, with the Kushan magic, it is more like a manipulation of things that already exist physically. For example, the Pashaka in Berserk are animals that have been enhanced or infected, for lack of a better word, with powerful energy or with other spirits, and are controlled through intense meditation and focus. Beings that already have a physical form and are possessed by the user to use for whatever purposes that they see fit. There's also the Kundalini that uses, again, a base animal such as a snake, but surrounds the animal with enough astral water spirits that it creates a larger body of water, making it appear like a giant serpent. And this is also controlled or manipulated by the magic user that conjures it. So the fundamental difference between the two styles of magic, between witches and the Kushan sorcerers, is that the witches borrow power and the Kushan manipulate power. However, when it comes to the Garuda, there are some elements of that lore that are left unexplained, and it's kind of up to our interpretations, but I'll get to that in just a moment. First, we got to talk about where a Garuda comes from in our own real world. And first we have to obviously look at the Hindu mythology, because a large portion of everything involving the Kushan revolves around Hinduism. In that mythology, the Garuda is a singular giant bird-like creature resembling a kite. Not that kind of kite, but the bird kite. And also definitely not the anime movie Kite, even though I kind of enjoy that movie. But anyways, Garuda is known as the king of birds with a mile-long wingspan, sometimes given a human-like feature like a human head with a beak or something along those lines. And Garuda is also described as a means of transportation for Vishnu, another Hindu god. But it's also very interesting because Vishnu is part of a holy trinity that also includes the god Shiva. Shiva, whom Ganishka is referred to after he goes into his ascension and becomes that of a destroyer. Shiva is the destroyer, Brahma is the creator, and Vishnu is the preserver, riding on top of the great and powerful Garuda. In Buddhism, though, it's a little bit different. Buddhism doesn't really rely on the whole God or gods thing. It's much more of a way of life and the journey to return to the source of all things. But there is the whole celestial being aspect, which I do not claim to understand myself. But while researching the topic, the Garuda in Buddhism isn't just one being, but an entire race of bird-like beings. Again, they are giant and powerful with wings that can cause an intense amount of destruction. They're one of the 8 non-human beings that protect the teachings of Buddha, and also were at one time enemies of another one of the 8 called the Naga, which resemble snake-like creatures. But the idea of protecting the teachings or the Dharma and the spiritual creatures and such kind of cross over back and forth between a lot of the Eastern religions, similar to how the Abrahamic religions all share similarities but differ here and there. It's almost like they all come from somewhere specific and then broke off into branches, but I digress. Let's just talk more about the big dinosaur-looking motherfuckers that are in Berserk. Garudas. The Garudas here seem to fall more in line with the Buddhist definition, as there are definitely more than one of them, and we first see one when Guts had defeated Daiba's Kundalini snake, and he calls out for the Garuda to catch him from falling like Goku would the flying Nimbus. I mean, seriously, where was he circling? Above him the entire time, just waiting to be tagged into the fight? Anyway, it's not clear if the Garuda is controlled by the magics that Daiba possesses, or if they were tamed. Or perhaps within the taming them, magic was used, I don't know. Because most of Berserk's monsters come from the astral world itself. For these beings to exist here in the physical world and not be some sort of animal manipulation like the Pishaka, it means that Daiba must have had a way for summoning them. Or it could have been because it's stated every once in a while that the worlds overlap and an astral creature is brought into the physical, that Daiba just so happened to find a nest of Garudas and became their surrogate father. Or maybe yet there was an area similar to Klipoth that manifested in Kushan territory, and like the trolls that attacked the village there in Midland, Garudas came forth to attack in the Kushan Empire, and Daiba was called in to solve the issue. The point is, they look like their own creature and not some sort of possessed bird or an element manifestation. The Garuda are large enough for several humans to ride on their back, and they have big, almost skeletal looking heads that appear less like a bird and more like a pterodactyl, with large wingspans and capable of flying at intense speeds. They also must be extremely powerful and have high endurance because the Garuda that we see in the manga was zapped by Ganishka's lightning, but was still able to continue to fly afterwards. And I'm assuming either through loyalty to Daiba or some sort of control, a Garuda was able to fly up close and personal near Ganishka's Shiva form, as Daiba watched the haunting destruction that was being caused from a safe distance in the sky, but it was still a little too close to be considered really safe. When it came time for Rickert and Salat to escape Falconia, Daiba revealed that he had been keeping the Garuda in a large barn, telling everyone it was horses that he was looking after. Nope, just giant bird monsters. How he got them in there with no one noticing, that's anybody's guess, but he does mention to Rickert to stay nearby him, and the Garuda won't eat him. So this leads even more to the idea that they are either loyal to, or at least under some kind of control by Daiba himself. But whatever the case, they were able to use the Garuda to make a soaring escape over the very large walls of Falconia. We've mostly seen the Garuda be a method of transportation or observation in the series thus far, so it's hard to gauge their fighting ability, but we can at least get a general idea of their stats through the feats of being able to take a blast of lightning and keep flying, and being able to explode their way out of a barn, breaking it into pieces. Their size as well, being able to fit probably up to 6 humans on their back, so the Garuda are naturally incredibly strong and resilient. It's unknown if they have any supernatural abilities like spitting fire or something along those lines because we just haven't seen it. But more than likely they just use their gigantic beaks and talons to attack when necessary. Due to the size and shape of their heads, they can probably swoop in and scoop up a human to eat within a few seconds. If you were to fight one as a regular human, I think your biggest issue would be getting to it in the first place. It can just fly as high as it needs to in the sky, at high speeds, and then crash down to attack at any time it wants. A normal sword might not do much, and you'd probably also need to have some sort of enchanted weapon. I'm wondering though if a magical barrier could harm it, as does the trolls and ogres. Again, it's not clear if the Garuda are on the positive spectrum of the astral creatures or not. They're probably more neutral than anything else, so a barrier may work, but could also be too risky to even want to try. Killing them is probably as easy as just cutting off their head or piercing their heart, but good luck trying to get your shot in. Anyways, what do you guys think of the Garudas in Berserk? Personally, I want to see a lot more for them. They're good tools to have as an escape route, but I want to see an entire flock of them just storm in and attack some apostles. Daiba could make it happen, why not? He just needs to share a little of his special hookah smoke, and those Garuda will be ready to dive bomb into Falconia. But anyways guys, thanks a lot for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Please, if you would, like and comment on this video so it helps it in the algorithm. And also check the links in the description below. I have a merch store where you can get yourself a motherfucking Zod hoodie, coffee mug, and a lot more, and it would really help me out. I'd appreciate it. And there's also a Patreon page if you're feeling really frisky, along with my various other social media links, again, all down in the description below. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you guys next time.